Oh, brother.
Where art thou?
2000 film by Coen, Joel, and Coen Ethan. Starring George of Clooney, John of Turturro, and a third man whose name I forget.
The Man. I've never seen that one.
Oh, that's great. You should watch it.
Yeah, I know.
That's
what they say.
At one point, John Turturro sings about how they're in the jailhouse now. And and the whole audience goes wild.
What was the most recent film that those two made?
Oh, the Coens of Brother?
Yeah. Seems like it's been a while.
I guess it would have been Hail Caesar, I guess. Huh?
Oh, yeah. That was probably it.
And they have something else in the works. So, you know what?
They're still making movies.
They're still kicking.
And this has been Coen Brothers Check-In.
Just letting you know where they're at. Coen Brothers history. A, they make Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? B, they make Hail Caesar. C, we'll keep you posted.
What's next? Who knows?
Who knows? Miller's Crossing is my favorite. Not probably one of my favorite scripts that I've ever seen in a movie. Anyways,
What is?
Miller's Crossing.
I don't know that.
It's great if you want to hear a bunch of like old timey people say like crazy shit, like literally the first scene is like the stakes are laid, the gauntlet is thrown down between two mob bosses, and like the final like discarding threat is a line like, use fancy pants, all of yous.
Yes, fancy pants, all of yous.
Everybody in the movie talks like that, and it's literally
That's
the best
cool.
thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yes, fancy pants.
Anyways, we're not here to talk about Miller's Crossing, though.
Yeah, we're here to talk about a show where the dialogue sucks.
The dialogue's a lot worse than Miller's Crossing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say Miller's Crossing has better dialogue than any episode of Lost.
Wow,
and I'll stand
that's
by
big.
that. Yes,
Especially because some of them they talked a lot.
some of them they have a lot of talking in, but some of them, none of them say use fancy pants, all he is.
Yes,
So
fancy pants, all he is.
it's true.
Not even Sawyer says it.
Sawyer says a lot of great things.
Yeah.
But no, he doesn't quite hit the heights.
Fancy pants.
The word poetry of yes, fancy pants, all he is.
All yes. So what did we watch?
We watched a show called Lost in the Wrong Order here on the Island Shuffle. Welcome to it.
Welcome to it.
My name Bean.
My name James.
And together, who knows? Nobody's quite sure.
Who's sure with the Coen brothers and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly. You got the Coen brothers. They're two people. You got us. We're two people. That's just...
Who's next?
Who's next?
What other pair?
What other pair of people could there possibly be?
Pairs of people in pairs of pants. Parrots on the shoulders of pirates.
Oh.
At a Payless shoe store.
This is evocative. This finally some word poetry might beat your fancy pants all.
Poetry.
It's poetry.
Pottery. Poetry, pottery. Primetime television.
Damn. I think I might not know what poetry is.
You're learning.
Is poetry just saying unrelated things that sound fine together?
Yes.
Oh, then yeah, perfect.
Well, unrelated in the sense that they're not from the same family.
Yes. They're not from the same family. Speaking of family, on this week, Claire...
No, I want to do this segment more. It's really good.
Analyzing word association segment?
Whatever it was.
Whatever it was? Just defining poetry?
Yeah, you don't have to put it in such a fancy pants way.
I guess.
No, let's quit it. It was a bad segment.
I didn't hate it, but it also is not our podcast. Our podcast is a show where we talk, and we only talk. And if you've listened to us this far, you know this.
It's talk heavy.
It's talk heavy.
Some people would say there's too much talk.
Some people would say there's only talking.
Yeah.
There's exclusively talking. And they're not wrong.
Smoke the bong. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready now.
We're ready. So this week we watched season 1, episode 10. 10, of course. And it's called Raised by Another.
Oh, yes.
And it's a Claire episode. All about pregnant Claire and all of her pregnancy.
And it's not going well for her.
She's struggling. Where do you want to start with this one?
Maybe flashbacks.
I feel like that kind of makes the most sense, and there's a lot to unpack.
It's funny.
There. It's pretty wild.
The best moments come in the flashbacks.
For sure. The flashbacks are all about. The first flashback we see is Claire learning that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And she's got her partner there.
What is this guy's name?
I want to say, I think Thomas is his name.
Yeah.
Thomas is there. They're living in their Australian apartment. And Claire's like, no, I don't know. There's a lot of panic.
Yeah.
They're like, did they read the pregnancy test right? Or did you pee on the stick right? I can pee on a stick. A lot of chaos.
Yeah.
And then eventually it settles down. And then the boy is like, Claire, maybe we can do this.
We could be parents, Claire.
Claire, we could be parents.
We could be Clarence.
We could be Clarence pair.
Clarence pair. We could be a Clarence pair.
We could be a Clarence pair. The famous, a Clarence pair, as we all know here in Australia, is a pair of people who are trying to raise a child named Clarence. You and I could finally be a Clarence pair.
But then we all know, this is not a big spoiler, that Claire became an Aaron's Claire. She became Aaron's Claire.
Aaron's Claire. From a Clarence pair to an Aaron's Claire. That really sums up Claire's whole arc across this whole show.
That's just the subtext on her resume.
Yeah.
Claire. From a Clarence pair to an Aaron's Claire.
That's her like when you fight her in Ocarina of Time, that's the subtitles that show up underneath her boss name.
Wow, I miss fighting her in Ocarina of Time.
Top 10 gamer moments for sure.
10, yes.
Everybody remembers the iconic fight against Claire Littleton.
Still pregnant Claire Littleton.
In the Ocarina of Time dungeon.
She's both pregnant and carrying Aaron in her arms.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that a lot of bosses in that game, for the time, very large scale, like sizable guys. Claire's just the size of a person.
Yeah, which is still bigger than Link.
But like,
not big.
Not that, still not that big.
Not big.
And Link kills her.
Yeah. I like whenever she dies. The old Clarence pair. But so Thomas. Before all this takes place.
Yes.
Thomas is like, let's have the child.
Yes, let's
and
have the
Claire's
child.
like, okay.
Claire's like, but my mom, we can't. And Thomas is like, no.
Oh yeah.
We can't. Don't worry about it. This is, we can do it. Your parents have already disowned you, and you know what? A baby might just be the thing we need. You've got your job at the Fish and Fry. I've got my painting.
Oh my God.
Right away, red flag.
Yes. Oh my God. This guy's painting because she's like, my $5 an hour job at the Fish and Fry won't pay for it. And then, he says, I think his direct quote is, you're not the only one with a job. I've got my painting. And then there's paintings in their apartment. They're not good.
They're not
clearly
great.
No one is buying them.
Listen, as a person with 2 years going Lost podcast, follow your creative bliss. Do what you want. But also, I have no delusions about this podcast supporting a child.
Work a real job.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Thomas. But, he thinks it'll be okay.
Yes.
And then, what do you know? Well, no, she goes to a psychic.
Yes, first things
first. What do you know? She goes to a psychic.
What do you know? Sometimes you decide to have a baby, and then your friend takes you to a psychic.
Just to have some fun.
And like most psychics on this show, this is just a guy.
It's just a middle-aged man.
It's a regular dad
in the
man.
Suburbs.
Man on the bus arrives in his home and performs psychic feats.
Yeah.
And he starts reading Claire's, hands and holds her palms.
Reading her book
and says, "Oh, great book here you got."
And she's like, "Oh, thank you."
Wait, why? This is just a dictionary. What am I doing?
All the words. It's funny how they use other words to describe words. It's like, what?
It really makes you think.
And that's what he says to her. And then he's like, but wait, we're here to talk about you.
You didn't pay me hundreds of dollars to read your dictionary and to criticize it at you.
Yeah.
You paid me hundreds of dollars to perform psychic feats. So I'm going to hold your hand. And then, oh no, I'm sensing something awful. And then Claire's like, what is it? The psychic, first of all, can tell that Claire is pregnant. At one point, Claire's friend interrupts the psychic doing his thing to be like, she hasn't told her mom yet, and then they're like, please be quiet.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Did she think he was about to call Claire's mom?
I think so. Yeah, he was about to astral project to Claire's mom.
She hasn't told her mom yet. It's like, fine.
That's valid.
That's your. I'm just being psychic.
Yeah, I'm just channeling the parts unknown of the inner psyche. I'm not, I'm not judging.
I don't give a shit about your mom.
Except that the psychic is so perturbed by whatever he has seen, he says, I can't do this reading. Yeah. Here's your money back, Ms. Littleton. You go back to where you came from. And Claire's like, well, that was weird. Weird experience. Kind of Oh, well. A man held my hands and said, get out of my house. That's all there is to that, I guess.
I guess that's foreshadowing.
I guess that's all there is to that. Probably nothing. Probably regular. Anyways, better go back to my loving home. Some months pass. Claire is visibly pregnant now. She's hanging up drapes.
And
the man comes home with a sack
drapes always spell disaster.
Boy, don't they. The man, Thomas, comes home with a bag of apparently groceries, but then the groceries just turn out to be a single six-pack that he puts in the fridge and immediately cracks a beer. So things are going well.
And Claire's like, how are you doing? And Thomas is like, what are drapes?
Drapes? And Claire's like, yeah, drapes. Doesn't it make you feel grown up to have drapes?
Thomas is like, that's scary.
That's it. I've had enough. Drapes are the final straw for me. I can't do this anymore, Claire. To which Claire understandably responds, hey, what the fuck? This was like, we're staying together. We're having a baby. This was all your
idea.
You're breaking.
I'm super pregnant
and you're just going to leave me? And the man of Thomas just doubles down.
Yeah. He does not want to have a conversation about it whatsoever. He's just like, what's gonna happen, Claire, when we have the baby? What about my painting?
and Claire's like, you're not the only raising a kid is hard. We both agreed to make sacrifices and stuff, right? And then Thomas is like, oh yeah, well, I bet that. You know what? I bet that you know what? You were supposed to be on the friggin' pill. What happened to that? And Claire is like, oh my God, you're actually accusing me of getting pregnant on purpose.
Yeah.
That's Get Out.
On purpose.
I think Claire plays this scene very understandably as appropriately angry. She's pissed and angry and confused at this awful man. But one thing about it is that we only see 2 scenes of this man. The first scene is literally the first scene is oh, he's a bit of a doof, but they're in love. And then instantly he's just this worst, most unrepented asshole.
He's just drinking beer and leaving his pregnant girlfriend.
Yes. It really is
weird.
And he's so mean. He's ridiculously mean. Man, I guess, right?
What do you do after that but go and see the psychic again?
Boy, howdy. Sometimes you go back to the psychic, and the psychic says, all right, are you really ready? Are you sure you're ready for this reading? Here it is. Here it is for you, Claire. All right, listen to me very closely. Here's what I saw. You mustn't allow another to raise your baby. The goodness within you will protect this baby. Danger surrounds this baby, Claire. You have to raise this baby yourself. And Claire is just kind of like, this
is weird.
This is weird. I think I'm going to leave. Thanks for taking my money. And then the psychic becomes even more insistent. He says, take the money back. I don't care about the money. You need to raise this baby on your own. I'm telling you, Claire. Listen to me, please, please. And he's growing more desperate, and Claire's freaking out and is like, leave. I'm leaving. The next scene we see is months have passed.
Yeah.
Claire is called in the middle of the night and says, this again? You've been calling for months. And it's the psychic still saying, hey, Claire.
You gotta raise your baby.
You gotta raise your baby yourself.
Raise the baby, Claire.
Oh my God. A prediction of it's good to raise your baby, even danger surrounding your baby is okay, all right, you're a psychic. You're, this is kind of this is the deal. You're coming with a prediction. It's a weird prediction, but okay.
Uh-huh.
To pester this lady for months.
Oh, it's funny that he never like qualifies it at all too. It's not like you should raise your baby because it's just like raise the baby. You need to raise the baby.
I can't tell you why, but you just have to.
You just have to.
You just I don't here's my favorite thing. Here's my favorite thing that I would like in another context. Claire, during the like reading scene, Claire hands the psychic a wad of cash, and the psychic is like thumbing through it to make sure it's the right amount. And Claire says like, well, if you're psychic, how come you got to count it? The psychic responds, that's not how it works. And Claire says, oh, sorry, I was just making a joke. I mean, how does it work? And the psychic just kind of like chuckles and like says earnestly, I have no idea. I don't know. And like that's compelling. That sells the idea of like, oh shit, there's a
larger force.
There's a larger force at work. Maybe this guy's a fraudster and he's so bought into it. Maybe there's a larger force at work. Where it falls apart is when he starts when he continues to pester her.
You gotta raise your baby, lady.
You just gotta raise your baby. I don't know why. You just have to.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
You just trust me on this one.
Idiot man. And Claire says no, so she goes to the lawyer's office to meet the two rich people who want to take the baby.
They want to adopt the baby. And so Claire's like, all right, time to give up this baby for adoption. And the lawyer's like, here's the deal with adoption.
She's got a great deal too.
You get a thick wad of cash.
Yeah. $20K.
And the only thing is you forfeit your right to ever talk to the baby, know about the baby, know how it's doing. These guys, it's up to them entirely if they want to tell them about you. And you're cool with that? And Claire says, yes, I'm cool with that. Goes to sign it. Says, hey, listen, parents, sing her this lullaby for me, won't you? And they say, of course. And then Claire goes to sign it, but the pen's not working. And then Claire's like, we need another pen? And then Claire starts writing with the second pen, and she's getting cold feet.
Her feet are freezing.
Her feet are freezing. She goes back to the psychic. After she ends up abandoning this.
She leaves, and the woman is like, no.
My baby. Where are we going to adopt another baby now? But we never find out how that plans out.
Yeah, they just forget about those people who I thought were the most interesting characters in the whole run of the series.
Fascinating. The rich Australian couple who are willing to give $200. I mean, who just want to adopt a baby really bad.
$20,000.
Was it $20,000?
It was.
Oh my God, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's I don't make that I don't know if I make that in a year, dude.
Yeah. It was, to be fair, it's 20,000 Australian dollars.
Right, and that's worth that's worth 20,000 and 1 penny of Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So it's all different.
It's all slightly,
but
it's worth like 19,999 American dollars.
Yeah, and their economy and cost of living is so different. Because the thing about it is, it costs 20,000 to adopt a baby, but it costs 300,000 to buy a compact disc. And then you factor in that it costs 2 Australian pennies to buy groceries. And you end up with a really unique and interesting economy.
How much to buy a painting?
To buy a painting, it costs 5 apples.
5 apples.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I understand correctly, and this is just from what I've learned from the show,
yes,
the way that you get rid of a painter is through it costs 1 baby.
Yes.
To get rid of a painter.
This is true. This is just like Australian economics. The writers really did their research here.
Australianomics.
Yes.
They call it.
That's what they call it.
Australians. Throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
They
Oh my God. Can you imagine how many like Barbie dolls were just covered in shrimp? And they keep throwing more on the Barbie.
They plead, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. There's too many shrimps on the Barbie.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think we owe ourselves a great pat on the back. You know what? I was going to say we owe ourselves a pat on the back for getting this far in a show where Australia is central and not making a shrimp on the Barbie joke. But we probably already have. We almost certainly already have.
I don't know. I don't remember doing it.
I don't remember it either, but 2 years.
I remember most of the. I don't forget a shrimp on the Barbie joke.
That's true. Every time I hear it, I mark down when, where.
Another shrimp on the Barbie joke. Yes. What's the best shrimp on the Barbie joke you can make right now?
Oh, fuck. I mean, it's going to be hard to top that one.
Okay.
But.
Here, I'll try something.
Okay.
So there were these two people.
Yes.
Neither were Australian.
Yes.
And they didn't have a barbecue.
Okay.
And then they go to the public park.
Okay.
And they walk by an Australian family.
Mm-hmm.
And they hear, "Oi, Pop, throwing another shrimp on the Barbie."
I didn't like it as much as the other one, to be honest.
Okay, I'll work on a new one.
Because that one was just that Australians are saying it. And that's like the whole bit, I guess.
Okay.
But I here's what I'll tell you. I definitely won't forget that it was said.
What about I went to an Australian's barbecue.
Yes.
And I expected this Australian to propose to me. I was expecting a ring.
Mm-hmm.
All I got was a shrimp ring on the Barbie.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yes.
You know what? You set up an expectation and you subverted it. I think that's what that means.
I hope that was not the expectation whenever I started my shrimp on the Barbie rambles.
No.
I hope I subverted something.
You subverted. You know what? You subverted and then inverted and then reverted it.
Reverted.
So it's kind of like fourth dimensional structural joke telling. Next level comedy stylings.
NLCS.
Yes. NLCS. That's exactly what we're dealing in here.
Nulkas. So Claire is back to the guy again?
Yeah, Claire's back to the guy.
She goes back to the guy.
Goes back to the guy, and the guy has something to say. Suddenly the guy is saying, "Listen, here's here's $6,000 and tickets to LA. There's a couple in Los Angeles that I want you to give up the baby to." And Claire's like, "What the heck? You've been tormenting me for months, harassing me, and telling me to raise the baby on my own. Now you want this? Now you want me to get on a plane?" And the psychic says, "Look, I know this seems crazy, but trust me, this is how it has to be. This is absolutely how it has to be. You have to these people in LA, they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
They will raise the baby right. And if you get on this flight, and it has to be this flight. It has to be flight 815. Bum, bum, bum. And Claire, sure enough, hops on that flight, crashes on the damn ass island.
And that was the end of her flashbacks.
That's
right?
the end of her flashbacks.
Yeah.
Stupid.
The thing I don't like about it is this is never delivered upon.
No, this is like this threat of like what's gonna happen to Aaron, and like this like the threat of Aaron is so like it keeps being like this weird side thing.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, if Claire doesn't raise the baby, something bad will happen.
And it's like Claire doesn't raise the baby.
Claire doesn't raise the baby.
Kate raises the baby.
Through no fault of Claire's own.
Yeah.
Claire's baby is Claire leaves her baby behind.
Claire abandons the baby.
Claire abandons the baby.
And you know what? You know what happens? Well, everything, but also nothing.
Everything, but none of it is due to the baby.
Yeah.
Like, Kate raises the baby just fine.
The baby is a normal baby.
The baby's a normal baby. Kate raises the baby just fine and then feels guilty about leaving Claire behind. Goes back to get Claire. And then that's the last we hear of Aaron. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
The baby is just a baby.
The baby is just a baby who exists.
Yeah. So, fucking, if it weren't for that awful man and his weird things, the baby could be hanging out with his two rich parents.
Yeah.
And Claire could be rolling around in $20,000.
Yeah. Instead, this awful man decided you have to be on an island.
Yeah.
And they do, in fact, talk about this. Like, when Claire, like, remembers and is talking about the scene with Charlie later, like, Charlie says, like, you know what? If he really had the gift, Maybe he knew that the plane would crash on the island, and this was his way of guaranteeing that you would raise the baby yourself. Well, then why didn't, like... What?
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 Yeah, just what?
What are you talking about? Why didn't the psychic know that Kate would steal the baby later?
Yeah, the man's an idiot.
The man's fucking really blew at IMO.
Anyways. So that's that.
So that's some nonsense. It's like, it's fine. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just like the Aaron stuff is so weird and not like
stupid.
Like clearly, like this is the phase of Lost where they were just like planting a bunch of seeds and like didn't really know what they were doing.
They're figuring it out.
The idea of like, Claire's on this. This is why Claire's here, because the psychic knew a secret thing is like pretty. It's like not nothing.
Yeah.
But knowing what we know, it's like obviously
it is nothing.
Yeah, knowing what we know, it is nothing. Yeah. And it's just like not. I don't know. It's not the most interesting thing in the world.
I hate the baby. I don't care about the baby.
Mm.
The baby sucks. He doesn't say a word.
He doesn't say a word. There's a season, like they spend a whole season inoculating the baby for no reason.
It's so weird.
Inoculating the baby with like juice that Charlie found in the hatch. And Charlie's just like, it would be probably a good idea if. And then Charlie steals the baby a couple times.
Yeah, it's stupid. The baby is stupid.
Oh, I guess there's the thing about like pregnancies on the island, right?
Yeah.
That's the only like baby thing that's
But
like,
then
this is
like,
pretty interesting.
One, I feel like every other baby that they've had that with was conceived on the island.
True.
And two, who gives a shit? It's so boring. It's like, what is... I don't know.
I don't disagree.
Claire has the baby. It's fine.
Claire has the baby.
Like,
It's fine.
People die if they get pregnant and have babies on this island. And then it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's true. It really is like we learn that, and then like nothing really comes of it. It's just like this is a thing, and then it's like
also Sun and Jin. They're like that baby was conceived on the island,
and that's also
they're fine for some reason.
That's also like made a threat, and it's just like, oh my god, are they gonna be fine? They're fine.
They're fine. So they just pick and choose when it works.
Exactly. It's silly. It's nothing. It's just like another nothing thing.
Yeah.
So on the island, Claire has a little dream.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happens in the dream?
It's weird.
It's pretty
weird. She doesn't have the baby anymore. She sees Locke playing cards, and Locke says some cryptic things and then also doesn't have eyes, I think. Uh-huh.
And then Claire hears a baby cry and walks up to a crib. But then in the crib is a lot of blankets. And then blood. Oh, no. And Claire wakes up screaming standing in the middle of the caves. And she is screaming bloody murder. A lot of really great screams from Emily Duravan in this episode. And she's screaming bloody murder, and she's clenching her fist so tight that her nails are digging into her palms. Uh-huh. And it's intense. Jack and Claire are kind of shoot the shit about, like, all right, let's stitch up your hands. Must be an intense dream, All right, tell me about the baby. Let's, I'm the doctor. Let's get up to speed on where your baby's at.
I'm the doctor.
I'm the doctor.
Don't you forget who's the doctor here.
And Claire says, are you the doctor?
Yeah.
And Jack says, have you forgotten already?
I forgot.
I'm the doctor.
I'm the doctor.
It's me, the doctor. And the doctor ends up realizing, Claire's going to deliver the baby soon. Oh, my gosh. Can you believe it? And so that's a concern. Reminder, this is season 1 of Lost where, like, survival is a thing. Yeah. People are like, do we have water? Do we have food? And then having the idea of delivering a baby complicates that. So, this is just sensible stuff. This is just some sensible season 1 stuff. IMO. Charlie is being a cute guy. Charlie's being like, oh.
He just loves Claire.
Charlie has a big fucking crush on Claire. Don't you know it? And Charlie's like, and Claire's like, oh, it's tough to be a pregnant lady on the island. And Charlie says, listen, I just can't imagine what it must. You must feel so scared. And I want to be, and you must not, that it's still early in the show. None of us are friends. But Claire, I want to be your friend. And they're friends now. And that's how friendship
Charlie.
Works. And Claire
Sweet little boy.
Sweet little boy alert. The next thing we see of Claire is woken up in the middle of the night and violently attacked with a knife of some kind.
Yeah.
Cut to people like reacting to her screaming, and Claire's like, I was attacked with a knife. well, you need to form, and people are like, all right, we need to form a search party, figure out who did this, let's go, let's get it. Jack and Hurley go out, people are canvassing all night, and Jack kind of pulls, I think, Kate and Charlie aside and says, listen, I hate to be the doctor, and I am the doctor.
And I hate it.
I hate what I am, and I dread my responsibilities.
But I can't help be but what I am.
I am what I am, as Popeye says to me all the time.
I am what I am.
I am what I am, and what I am is the doctor. And as a doctor, Claire had a sleepwalking episode last night, and then this night, and then Charlie's like, you think she's crazy, don't you? You think she's making this up? And Jack's like, look, it's a high-stress situation. And so Jack ends up going to Claire and having this conversation with her and being like, listen, it's a high-stress situation. We were surviving a plane crash. I want you to take these sleeping pills.
Mm-hmm.
To which Claire responds, you think I'm crazy? You think I'm making this up? I'm out of here. I'm leaving the caves and I'm going back to the beach. Screw this. And then Charlie goes after her. Same deal, basically. Charlie kind of is like, oh, you think you're gonna prove you're not crazy by running through the jungle unsupervised? And then Claire's like, nobody believes me. Like, nobody understands what I'm going through. Fuck off. And like, I do appreciate that this show is at least being a little sympathetic to like everybody, literally everybody's like, oh, Claire's being a hysterical pregnant woman. And the show is, like, sympathetic to Claire and is not, like... I don't think it is, anyway. I don't think the show is being like, isn't Claire crazy?
No, because she's right.
Yeah, she's right, it turns out. She's completely right.
She starts to have contractions.
Yes. And then Charlie ends up panicking more than Claire about this. And
he's an idiot.
He's an idiot. He starts breathing deeper than Claire does. And then Claire's like, listen, you need to shut the fuck up and go get Jack. And there's a pretty funny moment where Charlie is like, listen, if I can kick drugs, I can deliver a baby. And then he's like, wait a second. I just admitted that I'm a drug addict. Uh-oh.
I'll explain later, lady.
I'll explain later. Time to go get Jack. Jack, after all, is the doctor. So Charlie goes to get Jack. But Charlie instead runs into Ethan Rom, the regular guy, the regular friggin' guy, and Charlie ends up...
Gets Ethan to go and get Jack on his behalf.
Exactly.
Because he wants to go back and see Claire, who he loves.
And when he goes back, Claire's fine. The contractions have stopped. It was some kind of like false start, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It was a false start.
Mm-hmm. That's the medical term.
The medical term. I had a false start.
Yeah, I had a false start.
The baby, he's disqualified.
Yep. And then they kind of just shoot the shit for a while. They talk about, like, the psychic, like we mentioned earlier. And then they're like, listen, you can feel the baby kick now. It's fine. And Claire's just like, I'm happy to have you here, Charlie.
Oh.
And, like, it's fine. I don't know.
And then this mystery man comes and he says, do you need a third wheel?
You need a third wheel? And we think, what a helpful guy. He helps him out. Wait a second. There's a whole other plot that's happening in this episode that makes this guy seem actually like a bad guy.
It all rises together.
It all rises together.
Because Hurley
yes.
wants to know who the heck these people are.
Yes. While canvassing out with Jack, Hurley comes to the realization that they don't know who anyone is, and we need some kind of census to be able to keep track of who's who and who's where, and to keep tabs on everybody. So Hurley spends a lot of the episode going from person to person and just kind of like asking him like name, date, reason for travel, all that stuff. And you get some good scenes out of this.
Yeah.
You get a good scene of him interviewing Locke and Locke being like, and it's fucking...
Locke just weirding out Hurley.
Locke just being a weirdo. Here's what's good. Here's what it is. Hurley says like reason for travel to Australia. Locke says, I was looking for something. Then Hurley hesitantly asks, did you find it? Locke replies, no, it found me. And then Hurley just turns around and leaves.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
All right.
Hurley also asks Ethan, He's
Yes.
like, who are you?
Yes, and Ethan says, I'm just a regular guy who you can trust from good old Ontario, Canada.
And Hurley's like, fun.
Fun, Ontario. Oh, Hurley does a funny Canada.
Yeah.
Hurley says, like, oh, I love Canada. Great. His impression of Canada is literally saying great and then saying
Great.
which is like spot on.
Yeah.
From coast to coast on Canada town, you always hear the famous phrase that we are mocked mercilessly for across the globe. Great.
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 Do.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. Hey.
It really does a tight five about Canada.
What's the point of Canada, eh?
He's
Do
like,
we need to have a hat on top of our country?
and Ethan smiles and nods politely and says, yeah, that's what Canada is. Pretty funny. You're right.
Ethan smiles, and this is the first real, like, terror that we get with Ethan. He smiles, and he just says, he doesn't even blink, he says, I voted for Doug Ford. And Hurley leaves.
Hurley says, sounds great.
Yeah.
And then Ethan says, I will vote for him again.
I will vote for him again.
And then Hurley says, who is that? And then Ethan proceeds to explain the entire current political climate in Ontario.
It's weird,
It's weird.
but really good.
Weirdly prescient
Yeah.
for a show in 2004 to be describing the climate of Ontario
Prescient.
in 2019.
Based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
It is prescient based on the novel book Push by
I was in a
Sapphire.
bookstore yesterday, and I
Yeah.
saw the novel Push by Sapphire, and I got so excited.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's not
It's
real.
a real book.
Wow. Oh, thank goodness. Did you read it?
No.
Okay.
Never saw Precious either.
I remember seeing it back in the day. I doubt it holds up.
Really?
I don't remember enough about it.
Wow. I remember what it was based on.
Oh, yeah.
It's the novel
the-
Push by Sapphire.
Oh, the novel Push?
Yeah.
Oh, by Sapphire.
By Sapphire.
Yes, of course. Pokemon Sapphire.
Pokemon Precious.
There's a Pokemon Direct today. I got Pokemon on the brain.
Yes.
Grookey, still good. Oh, I do want to quickly mention the big new thing about Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
There's big ones now.
Oh, how big?
Really big.
Wow.
Very, very big. Like,
Wow.
like bigger than this house big.
Really?
Yeah.
How did they get so big? How did they fit in a little ball?
That's what we're all asking.
Oh my god.
These are questions that will hopefully be answered.
How did they get so big?
How do they get so big? And
Huh.
how do they fit in our little ball?
What are Pokemon?
Are they practical to have? These two big Pokemon?
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's pretty
I
silly.
feel like my cat is a Pokemon.
Your cat is definitely a Pokemon.
But he's like one that if someone had another cat that was trained to fight, it would kill my cat.
Yeah, your cat does not know any moves. Your cat
No.
knows. You know what moves your cat knows? Your cat knows rest.
Oh my god.
Golly.
But he restores HP that way.
It does, yeah. So he can, if he's high enough level, he can tank through some weaker enemies.
He could
probably
beat up Goldeen.
He could really shred a Magikarp to pieces
Yeah.
for sure. He could do a number to a Rattata, I reckon.
Good work, cat.
Good work,
So
Alfie.
Ethan leaves.
Ethan leaves. Hurley continues on his censusing. And at one point, someone says, like, this would be a lot easier if you just used the manifest that, like, has all the, like, people on the plane on it. And he goes, manifest where? Sawyer, who do you think has it? And Sawyer's sunbathing shirtless.
Yeah.
And it's a great shot to see. And so Sawyer is sunbathing shirtless. And Sawyer is... Hurley just walks up and literally, like fully, like, puts on the charm.
Yeah.
And is just like... Listen, I need the manifest. You steal a bunch of stuff. You could use the points. You could tell me to screw off, or you could just give me the manifest and we could call it a day.
And Sawyer's like, hell yeah.
Sawyer's literally just like, you got
He
it.
loves it. Yeah.
He literally is like, sounds good.
Fine.
It's right
Yeah,
over
take
there.
it.
Take it. And this is where they become officially husband and wife,
Uh-huh.
in my opinion. Husband and husband.
Husband and husband.
And it's
Huzz
beautiful.
and band.
Huzz and band. I now pronounce you
Huzz
Huzz and band.
Who gets to be Huzz?
Who gets to be the band?
Oh my god.
You can't. Oh my god. I have so many questions about how this works.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of this before.
Huzz and band.
Huzz and band.
Throw another shrimp on the husband.
I won't. That's my husband.
Duet. Throw more shrimp on the husband. Throw another shrimp on the husband. Where are the shrimp? Why aren't they on the husband more? Throw another shrimp on the husband. Throw another shrimp on the man. There is a husband. He's in the barbecue. He is the barbecue. Throw shrimp on him.
This is my favorite gay marriage tradition is when
Throw
everybody
another shrimp on. It's just a marriage tradition.
Yes, everybody gathers around. The problem is with gay marriages you have to get twice as many shrimp.
Twice as many shrimp.
But
Because there's twice as many husbands.
twice as many
But
husbands.
some of them have half as many husbands.
That's true. Wait, hold on. Have as many husbands as a normal marriage?
Yeah, so
So-
they have a half a husband.
Okay. So that's half as many shrimp, of
Yeah.
course. But yeah, when we all when they're walking down the aisle and everybody's throwing
And
shrimp.
the shrimp, yeah, the shrimpening.
Yeah, of course.
And do you ever, sometimes there'll be people who like, they couldn't afford a shrimp ring, so they're throwing like water chestnuts and stuff, and it's like, who invited these? It's
yeah.
a marriage.
Rice, like what?
Get a shrimp ring.
Get a whole shrimp ring.
I understand that your paintings aren't selling, Thomas, but
Get a whole shrimp ring because these are your friends and they're in love.
exactly.
Love is getting pelted with shrimp by your nearest and dearest friends and family.
It's like time is a flat shrimp ring.
It is like that. I'm thinking of a flat shrimp ring and not liking it.
Oh, it's gross.
It's gross.
So then something else happens
What
in
else
the
happened?
caves.
Yes.
Now it's unrelated to Hurley. 'Cause
Yes.
Hurley sort of goes away until the end of the episode now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saeed comes to
Yes.
the caves.
Last we saw Saeed relative to watching it normally, he was being tormented by the French woman
Yeah.
Rousseau.
So he went off to map the island. He
yeah.
got caught by Rousseau.
Yeah. And then he storms into the island and into the caves and says, "Listen to me, Jack. I met Rousseau, and there's something else. We're not alone on this island." Right away, maybe Claire wasn't making up that knife incident. And then Hurley comes through and says, "Listen, I took the census. I compared it to the manifest, and one of the passengers wasn't on the manifest. He wasn't on the plane." And guess who that person turns out to be?
It's the man who's standing right in front of Claire and Charlie right now.
Right now, it's Mr. Ethan.
It's
and he's-
Ethan.
You might think he's here to help them just find their way back to the caves or the
He's
beach.
gonna try and kill them.
He's going to try to kill them.
Yeah.
He's a killer.
Yeah.
He's a
Stone cold.
He's a stone cold straight killer, turns out. And that's scary. That is one of the best cliffhangers in season 1.
Yeah, it's
probably.
really good. Especially because they follow it up so well. I'm remembering the other episode because we watched it not
Yeah.
recently, but probably like a few months ago.
Yeah, remember when they're like chasing through Ethan in like the pouring
Charlie's
rain?
like dead.
Yeah, Charlie is dead.
Claire is stolen. It's so terrifying.
It's genuinely a terrifying thing. Plus, the whole mythos of the others is like obviously as inconsistent as anything else on the show. But it's like I'm gonna say like one of the like along with the Dharma people, like the Dharma Initiative, the others are like one of the like central threads of the show that is actually like pretty well fleshed out relative like the baby thing is not fleshed out at all.
Yeah.
The others is like inconsistent, but it's there throughout the whole show, and like they keep building on it in pretty interesting ways for the most part. There's obviously like the temple shit that sucks, but like for the most part, and this is like our first confirmation for sure that, or not our first confirmation, but our first like altercation with this force that turns out to be this whole huge thing.
It's cool. And Ethan's scary.
Ethan's scary. He's a tall,
He's a scary looking man.
He's a tall dude with dead eyes, and he voted for Doug Ford.
Yeah, exactly. He knows a lot about the political climate of
Ontario 10 years from the present. That's what's so scary about the others is that they saw all of this coming.
They saw it all coming.
They said
they didn't stop it.
They said you guys are all gonna elect reactionary pseudo-fascists with little to no policy or politics. And we all said, well, whatever.
That sounds like it won't happen.
That sounds ridiculous. You guys are silly. That's ridiculous. And then you're like, well, hey,
Well,
look at us now.
look at us now.
Look at us now.
Wow.
We're great.
Weird.
Pretty weird. So yeah, but other than that cliffhanger, this episode's like, I don't know, it's fine. It's not like amazing, but it's all right.
It's fine.
It went by.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
It wasn't like ridiculous.
Yep.
It was just, especially too, if we were watching it for the first time, the baby stuff would be interesting.
Yeah,
It's just because we know they don't do anything.
Yeah, this is an episode that is definitely lessened by the nonsense way that we're watching the show for sure.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like, I like the Hurley making the census stuff, but everything else is kind of like, all right, it's fine.
Did it raise any questions? Is what I want to know.
I think this episode might have raised some questions, and I'm hoping that our friends at Lostpedia are willing to provide the answers. I'm definitely, this will be my first time actually looking at this, so I'm definitely curious to see what their explanation for all the Aaron nonsense is.
It's so, I hated the Aaron nonsense. I don't like Aaron.
All right, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What was the nature of Claire's nightmare?
It was stemming from Ethan, like, drugging her?
Or
or no, I guess the nightmare. I don't know.
Well, ambiguous with some follow-up. It may have been an ordinary nightmare reflecting Claire's fears about giving her baby away brought on by the psychic's warnings. It's kind of,
Yeah.
what I thought. Or the black and white theme may suggest that it was influenced by the monster.
The black and white theme?
The Locke's eyes are black and white. That's what they
Ew.
mean, I guess. Beginning the manipulation and claiming of her that would later come to fruition. Oh, here's a good one. How did Hurley get his nickname?
Oh.
When Hurley...
Did he hurl?
Yes. Yes. Literally, according to Jorge Garcia, the writers indicated to him in the beginning stages of the show that Hurley's nickname may have been derived from a hurling incident.
I knew it.
In brackets, they clarify that hurling means vomiting.
Oh, my... Good. Thanks for clarifying, Lostpedia. Because if there's one thing about the show Lost that needed clarifying, it's what hurl means.
I'm so glad they did. I'm so glad that they're doing that they did the legwork to figure that out. Here's the big one, the hefty one. What danger would befall Claire's baby if it is not raised by her?
None.
Well, they got an ambiguous here for sure.
Oh, ambiguous.
But boy, do they follow up on this ambiguous. First bullet point. There may be no danger at all if the psychic was a fraud, which you may recall. I think we've seen the episode where we meet the psychic again, and the psychic admits to being a fraud. If taken at face value, the psychic's comments about the baby needing Claire's good-natured influence for a happy life may indicate that Aaron would have a destructive lifestyle later in life.
Ew.
Oh my god. Okay,
we can't speculate on a baby's lifestyle.
The idea of Aaron the baby, who when Aaron is old enough to have anything resembling agency, it only exists to be like, Mommy, I go to bed now. Destructive lifestyle.
Destructive life. Mommy, I don't go to bed now.
Mommy, I drink chocolate milk all
By the way,
night.
the mommy he's talking to, not Claire.
Whoa, fuck. Destructive lifestyle,
Yeah.
number one. God. Okay. Given that it seems impossible to change the future, as per the rules of time, it may be that the psychic foresaw the danger Aaron would be living as a member of the Oceanic Six. Again, like, no danger befalls Aaron.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a, like, Claire gets a little scared for a second.
There's no danger.
There's no danger. Some fans have suggested that the psychic was helping Jacob to get Claire a candidate on the flight. While the fact that Jacob scratches candidates off the list because of motherhood would seem to preclude this, Claire had nonetheless not committed to motherhood at this point and had intended to give up her baby, so this remains plausible. So Jacob obviously is, people are going to try to
was his strategy to get her to come to the island
Yes.
and give up motherhood
Yes.
was to tell her that if she gives away her baby, the baby will die. Or just that she has to raise the baby. His strategy to get her to... He wanted her to give up motherhood.
Yes.
So he tells the psychic that she has to raise the baby.
Yes. Yes. You know, it really is like...
God works in mysterious ways.
Fuck, dude, he sure does, doesn't he? All right, some pretty straightforward stuff next. Why was Ethan pretending to be a survivor?
To get the baby.
To get that baby. What was Ethan injecting Claire with?
Baby juice.
Baby juice, a.k.a. a serum developed by Juliet that would prevent Claire from dying from the island's pregnancy problems.
Good.
And, of course, where did Ethan come from?
The others.
Yeah, he was born in the Dharma Initiative. And that's the questions that we got here. And they're all answered, and I feel satisfied knowing that Aaron lives a happy life raised by Grandma.
I want Aaron to die.
I remember. Here's what I remember. Here's a thing I keep remembering. Is you know how the episode kept saying raised by another? There's a lot of talk being like, we can't let Claire get raised by an other. So you can't let the others take the baby.
Well, why not just not send her to the island in the first place?
Yeah, like, fucking, all right, whatever to this nonsense. To this nonsense, I say no, but we've got some more nonsense. What do you say?
Let's watch a better episode.
A better episode of this show? No way.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I'll go on random.org.
Random.org. We're looking at it on the website right now. 1 to 30. 1. This is not the first episode of the show.
We watched that already.
This is season 1, episode 5.
No.
White Rabbit.
White Rabbit?
White Rabbit.
Wow.
And it's a Jack episode.
Okay.
So what do you say we watch Jack's origin story?
I'd watch Jake the Snake.
This is just double checking that this is not the last Jack episode. I'm pretty sure we've got plenty of Jack left. And that's great. He's perfect. Now what you're doing here is you've set the minimum to 69 and the maximum to 70. And all right, it took 2 attempts to get to 69. And that's that's great. That's just great stuff. Yeah. Well, got it again. Thank goodness.
70.
70.
70.
68. Oh, you set the minimum to 68. I didn't notice.
69. One more. 68.
That's the episode, I guess. I think that's your way of telling me we should wrap up.
No, I'm having fun here.
All right. I've been Bean. You can follow me on Twitter at Barrier Trio.
I've been James. I will remain. And you can follow me at jamesbrown.space.
A great space to go to. You can follow the show on Twitter at Island Shuffle or on Facebook.com/The Island Shuffle. We're available on, you're already listening to us, so it feels weird to say this, but we're available on Apple, Google Play, Podcast Town, Stitcher, Spotify. Wherever you want to get a podcast, we got it. You want it, and it's here to say hello. So podcasts rule and not podcasts rule. Speaking of podcasts that rule, why don't you go to noisepace.xyz, my favorite website that hosts us for podcasts. Thank you, Matt, first of all. And second of all, for more podcasts, why don't you consider checking out Giants Confirmed, Fear Baiting, or City Girls Make Do, or any of the other many great podcasts that are available on noisepace.xyz.
Like our show.
Like our show, The Island Shuffle. Why don't you listen to more of Island Shuffle as well? We've really been fucking up, like, promoting all these other podcasts.
Yeah, let's just promote our podcast.
Yeah, we should just be like, if you liked this one, listen to all the other episodes of it.
We made a bunch.
We made so many, and they're all great to listen to. So that's that, huh?
Yeah,
that's the whole Motley thing.
Kit and cadoodle.
That's the whole kit and caboodle. Thank you so much for listening to our show. Give us a rating if you'd like on your podcast provider